Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Temple Mill Podcast. We got Mike here.
What's up, guys?
What's up? So this podcast is a little bit different from our other podcasts that you've seen in the past. If you're familiar with Conversations with Humans or even the Connecting Creators podcast, Conversations with Humans is more of like us just talking about random ideas, and that's more of a thing that we want to be able to look back on 5-10 years from now. But we kind of were just thinking that we need to have a podcast that is more related to what we do on a day-to-day basis. And we want this podcast to be kind of like a source of knowledge and information that we can share with past clients, future clients, and just anyone that wants to learn how to grow a personal brand. And so that's what this whole podcast is going to be about. We're going to be sharing all of the things that we've learned over the past. I mean, we professionally got into personal branding as a career, doing it for other people in 2016. But even for me, I started on YouTube in 2008 or 7 and got hundreds of thousands of views doing scooter videos. And so that wasn't really, like, personal branding wasn't really a thing back then, but it followed very similar principles that we do today with our clients. And so this podcast is just going to be us sharing all of the things that we've learned, things that are happening in the space, and hopefully it can be super valuable to anyone out there that wants to build a personal brand. So do you have any comments on that, Mike?
Yeah, we're pretty much going to kind of keep it short and straight to the point, like probably expect episodes anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. And we want this to just like be bringing as much value as possible and talking about specific topics. So like today, we're going to specifically talk about, creating content is easy when you know who you're talking to.
Right.
So we're going to kind of stick to that theme and just kind of talk about everything in terms of, discovering your avatar, your audience, your community, like why are you creating content in the first place? Because what a lot of people don't think about is when you have a viral video or you have videos that pop off, that's going to be what you become known for. Mm-hmm. And so you don't want to be the guy that's known for screaming at old ladies at Target or beating up homeless dudes. Like, right. So you want to like identify what is your brand about, like look inward at yourself, like, because it doesn't all have to be serious, like a lot of examples that we look at of like great personal brands, like someone like Joe Rogan, his brand is anywhere from psychedelics to fighting MMA to comedy, and that combination of things is what makes Joe Rogan like special and stand out.
Right. Yeah. And so something that I want to talk about is like just breaking it down to the fundamentals, like building a personal brand. I mean, there's obviously levels to this. Like Joe Rogan is like, in my opinion, at the top tier. But if you're just starting out, it's very, you want to be clear on who you're talking to, like what we were saying. And the fundamentals, it's like the point of building a personal brand is to attract an audience, right? Like an audience of people that, and it depends on your goals. Like if you want to sell more of the thing that you sell in your business, maybe it's an audience of people that are more likely to buy what you have to sell. If it's you're a artist and you want people to show up to your concerts, it's like you want to have an audience of fans that support listening to your music and want to see what's going on next. But essentially, all of that boils down to having an audience. And the best way to build an audience is create content that they actually want to watch. This isn't just like creating random things for random people. You need to get really clear of who you're making this content for. And it, like what this episode, like the title of this episode is, creating content gets really easy when you know who you're talking to. That's kind of like the fundamental idea here. And so like, let's run through an example of what this may look like. So if you're like a fitness coach, that's in my opinion, that's not niche down enough. Like that may be what you do, and like you create fitness content, but you need to go a step below that and say like, who am I creating this fitness content for? Because who you make that content for dramatically changes the direction you go with your content. And So if you're creating content, fitness content for frat guys that are in their early 20s, they're in college, they have a lot of time on their hands. Most guys in their early 20s, they want to put on a lot of muscle, they want to do a lot of lifts, things like that. And so if that's like what your expertise is in, you can create content that's speaking to that specific person. And you're going to be creating content that's like how to improve your bench press, things like that, like the right, like how to get in the right amount of protein. But if you're creating fitness content in a different direction, like for moms in their 40s that don't have a lot of time on their hands and want to lose weight, like the direction of your content plan is going to dramatically change. And so like all of this to say, like it's not enough to just say you want to create fitness content. Like you need to be really clear of who you're making that content for. And then the rest becomes extremely easy because like everything about your content changes when you know who you're talking to as well, not just like what the actual idea is, but like maybe it comes down to like the music or the fonts you use will change depending on, you know, if you're talking to someone in their 40s or like a mom in their 40s, you maybe want different music that's going to resonate with them more. The tone of your content, like the way that you present that information may be different too, which like changing all of these parameters to speak to that exact target avatar is going to lead to better results, whether that be more views, more followers, more purchases of your music, more conversions on your website, whatever metric it is that you're focusing on. I'm willing to bet that that's going to go up if you really cater to who you're talking to and not just create lukewarm content, you know, like content that's just how to be fit in 2023. Like that's been done before. It's not enough to get someone to really want to take action on what you're doing. Like you got to get really clear, you know?
Yeah. I feel like when you identify who you're talking to, you can then like reverse engineer when you brainstorm for videos and even like go out and meet those people and talk to them. And like just by talking to them, you're going to learn about ideas. Like we're entrepreneurs, and we were talking to one of our clients who is also an entrepreneur, but he's farther along the journey. And so he was able to get a bunch of ideas of videos that he could talk about just from us naturally asking him questions. Like he's a marketing expert. We don't have as much experience with paid marketing. We're more on the organic marketing side. So we were just naturally asking him questions about PPC and all these different things. And it was giving him ideas of what to talk about. Because you want to, like what Truman was saying, we don't want lukewarm content. Like you want a video that is genuinely going to make someone be like, yo, these guys are dope, I'm going to follow them. You know, and I think someone that's a great example of that is Alex Hormozi, where, you know, a lot of business entrepreneurs or creators that are talking on surface level things, it's like, you're not really giving me much of a reason or much value from that, versus like Alex Hormozi goes through very specific step-by-step processes or ideas that actually gave him value. And you have to earn those followers. You're not trying to finesse anybody. You're not trying to trick anyone or any gimmicks to get them to follow you. You want to build an organic and healthy following that is from them genuinely seeing your videos and being like, yes, you know, I love when I see Truman's videos. You know, those are the types of reactions you want to be getting, and really focusing on that person on the other side. And it's super important to, like, from the ground up, get the right people, because it's like something that we were talking about earlier was, if you were to take two different musicians that are throwing a concert and you're able to see your audience there in person, one musician is Taylor Swift and one musician is 50 Cent, the audiences are so different that if Taylor Swift were to try and perform for 50 Cent's audience, they're going to boo her off stage. Right. And it doesn't even mean that she's a bad performer or a bad artist. She could be a really great artist, but you want to have that right audience. You want to get people to know you for your true self. Like, and I think that's also why it's so important to be honest and authentic and genuine, because if you're putting up this facade and trying to be someone that you're not, it might work getting little tricks here and there, but then what's your long-term strategy? Like, you can't just be looking at it one video at a time. look at the big picture of, if you had a room full of 1,000 of your followers, what are the similarities between them, and like how are you going to talk to those people? um
Yeah.
so I think another topic too that kind of ties in with this, that maybe you can talk about, Truman, that you've said to me before, is the similarities between building a personal brand and building a business. Like, how do you
Yeah.
look at those two things being similar?
Um. So, I mean, I'll speak on what's coming to mind right now, but I kind of forget what I said earlier when we were talking earlier today. But so you can remind me too. But like, again, going back to like, once you know who you're talking to, there are certain problems that subset of people deal with on a daily basis. Like, and that's the same with business. Like, a really good business is one that solves a problem for a specific type of individual. And the better, like, the more that you learn about that individual's problems and their pain points, helps you then deliver a better solution, which is your business. You know, your business is just a systemized way for you to deliver that solution repeatedly to that person. But how that relates to building your content is that you need to understand these people. Like, going back to the fitness coach, like with frat guys, you need to understand that most guys in their early 20s are really trying to put on muscle. They're trying to bulk up. That's like their main thing, you know? And so they're really concerned about the right lifts that are going to do that, the right diet that's going to lead to that, the right macronutrient diet that's going to be high in protein. Like, they're really, that's their pain point is, I'm not big enough. You know, I don't have enough muscles yet, that type of thing. But if you're speaking to moms in their 40s, their main thing, and I'm just assuming here, is like that they want to lose a little bit of that weight or whatever it is. You know, that may be just a problem that they have. And so you need to understand that person the same way that you would with a business. Like, you need to understand that person and their pain points, so then you can create content that solves their pain point. And that's when they're going to be like, yo, Mike helped me so much with losing weight. I'm going to sign up for his newsletter. I'm going to buy his product. I'm going to attend his workshop. Like, because they already, it's like, it's all about that trust, you know, and they trust you. Like, they're willing to trust you with a bigger ask, like a purchase or an in-person event, because you've delivered 100 times out of 100 on all of these smaller pieces of content. Like, they feel genuinely that you know how to solve their problems. And like this whole approach I'm talking about is just one way to build your personal brand. Like, you can, you know, a problem could be that certain people, they're not laughing enough in the day, and so you have a Curtis Connor or Cody Co come in and they're making you laugh. You know, they're providing comedic content, and that's solving the pain point that those people have. You know, like, so it's all about like the angle that you want to go. But I think it's just super crucial to um again, just understand who you're talking to. And that's obviously going to get better and better over time, and it's going to grow and it's going to expand. But okay, I'm now reminded of what the original idea was with that. It's like a really good business, and Alex Hormozy talks about this. It's like, when you're trying to get to $1 million a year in revenue, it's just do one thing, sell it to one avatar, and use one marketing channel. So like, you're a fitness coach, you're going to sell to frat guys in their 20s, and the marketing channel that you're going to use is through DMs and Instagram. But eventually, once you like, and like, you can get to $1 million a year or more just servicing that specific niche, even though it may appear to be really small, you can really go deep on that. But when you kind of extract all of the value out of that one niche, you want to then add expansions out to that. So maybe like those guys in their early 20s, they're now getting to a place where they're becoming young dads. They don't have enough time on their hand. You're going to expand out to adding that as a target avatar as well. You're going to, again, go through the process of learning the problems and pain points that that avatar has, then add solutions, products that are going to service that. And then now you have a business that's handling both of those. But you can't just go from zero to doing that right away. You have to get skilled at going through one iteration of that. And I think that also just goes back to your content. Like, you're going to start with talking to like one type of person. Um, but then eventually your message is going to expand out to be broader and broader until eventually, once you get to be at the top of your game, you're just going to be talking to females about fitness, you know. But like, you can't, in my opinion, start at that because it's not like, that's kind of just lukewarm. But once you have an audience of people that are consuming your content, then you can then talk about other things and they're interested. But you have to be really like sniper shot as opposed to shotgun approach with your content at the beginning. Like, it's like what we talked about with YouTube. Like, a lot of people, especially in the Casey Neistat era, would want to do like vlogs, and it's like, no one cares about your vlog. Like, that, I'm not trying to be like mean, but it's like, if you have 0 followers, no one cares about your vlog just yet, you know.
It's going to be a lot harder to earn that trust because you're going to have to, if they don't know who you are, you're going to have to really over deliver with how entertaining that video is.
Yeah.
But most people, that's very difficult.
Right. And like, most people don't understand that Casey, like, it's not like he just started YouTube and started vlogging. He had like a decade of videos on YouTube up to that point until he even started doing daily vlogs. And so like, daily vlogs, he already had an audience of people that wanted to see like what was going on. Like,
yeah,
I think that once you like are creating enough content on a specific thing, your audience is naturally going to ask you for more of your life, like more of your personal life. Like, you know, if Alex Hormozy dropped a vlog, I think that that would do really well because like he's big enough where people are now curious about this guy. You know, he's kind of been like a mystery.
They now care.
You know, yeah, they now care about what's like, they would watch a video where he's going through a workout routine because they're like, man, he really earned my trust through all of these other efforts. I now want to see what else he has to offer. But my opinion is, I don't think you can just go to having like a vlog or go to just talking about random things or go to starting a like podcast that just talks about random things without having a base. And you get that base by get very clear on who you're talking to, providing a lot of value to that person.
Yeah, I think a big takeaway from what you just said is like going from 0 to 100,000 followers is a different game from going from 100,000 to 1 million. Because you really, at those early stages, need to focus on building that base. Then once you have that base, it's going to be a lot easier for you to start popping off and targeting a masser audience. Even
Right.
going from 1 million to 10 million is different from 100K to 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about where you're at in the creator journey. But I would say like something that I would advise anyone listening right now to do is, you know, make a note and write down who you think your avatar is and make a list of 10 of their pain points and try and get really real with like the actual pain that they're feeling. This might take some time and you'll kind of learn if you talk to your audience or if you were once that person, so you understand the journey. And like what Truman has said before is if you look at it from like 0 to 10 and you're at like a 7 on the scale of experience, talk to the 6s, 5, 4s, 3s, 2s, and the 1s. And, you know, no matter where you are, like if you're a 10, it's even easier to talk to the people because you're like an expert. But even if you're only a 6 or a 5, there's still value and insight that you can give to the 4s, the 3s, the 2s, and the 1s.
Right. It's like if you create content around golf, like someone may be like, I'm never going to create content about golf because I'm never going to be as good as Tiger Woods, you know. But like, even if you're at the point where you can effortlessly swing a golf club, you can then create content for people that don't know how to swing a golf club. You know, like you don't have to be Tiger Woods to create content around golf. You know, you just have to know something and then share that with someone that doesn't know that thing, you know?
Yeah, because I feel like the higher the number that you are, the fewer people there are. So the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s is where you're going to have the most amount of people. So if you're talking on those topics, those might, even though to you, you're like, this is so simple, everyone knows this. Those might be some of the videos that perform the best because as your number goes higher, fewer and fewer people have that expertise. So if you're trying to talk to a bunch of number 1s about number 9 topics. It just flies over their head. It's too complicated. It might not do very well, even though there's more value there, just because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
And then I guess another last tip that I would share is I think it's really important, like, talk to the individual.
Right.
Don't talk to like the masses and the group of people. Really connect one-on-one with your listener. Make them feel understood and heard, and you should genuinely care about this person, you know.
Yeah.
Don't just talk about some random audience that you don't understand or relate with or care about just because, you know, maybe the young girls are easier to finesse and get to buy your product or whatever. Like, talk to the people that you actually can understand and talk to, that you can genuinely help and provide value to, and make it intimate. Like, talk to them like you're talking to a friend. Don't be like, hey, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be, you know, you can't really connect with that person very well.
Yeah.
And that's all about where you're at. If you got 1 million followers, sure, you could start talking like Mr. Beast, but he had to kind of earn it to get to that place. And that's really where you're going to make the impact, is with the individual. Like, building a brand is about people. And another last note, like that Mr. Beast says, is, you know, quit blaming the algorithm. It's not the algorithm's fault that your videos aren't doing well. He says, replace the word algorithm with audience and say, the audience doesn't like my videos. You know, take it as feedback that your videos are flopping. Try something new, switch up your hooks, and you'll start to adapt and see more results. But get rid of those excuses, because the algorithm works great. It's not the algorithm's fault.
Yeah. And you even may have to experiment with changing who you're talking to as well. Like, this is not really it's a science and an art to grow a personal brand, and you have to really understand what you need to change and do that, you know, adapt, you know?
Yep.
So I think this covered a lot in our first episode here.
For sure. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This is the Building It podcast. So if you know anybody that's like interested in building their brands, or if you're interested, we're going to have a bunch more banger concepts coming in. We don't want to hold anything back. This is where we want to just release the dogs and let them start barking. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. And leave a comment below for sure if you're on YouTube or social media of what topics you guys have questions about, and we want to really connect. So
okay, see you on the next one.
All right, guys, catch you on the flip.